All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. My name is Peter Cayazzo. I run the Global Business and Finance Institute at the College of Business. If you walk by it, we're on the second floor of Valley Road. Also joining me is Yeshua Perez. He's one of our technology consultants, and he'll take over about halfway through the workshop. A couple of important notes. I realize it's, the fact that it's the last Monday of the semester and at 6 o'clock is not lost on us. Also that since you don't have Tableau in front of you, and we did give you that option originally if you wanted to come in person. I totally understand why you didn't. But it just makes it a little harder to follow along. And so instead of doing, looking really nitty-gritty into certain how-tos, we're going to kind of explain why things are important and what they do, and how you could go ahead and find more information out about Tableau. If you have a question at any time, if you could just raise your little hand in the bottom window there, and depending on who's talking, Yeshua or I will pick it up. So let's see, let me just move that to the bottom. Okay, with that said, does anyone have any questions to begin? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to start. This is the university main page, and in order to get to the GBFI site, we're going to type in GBFI and hit enter. The first one that pops up is going to be ours, Global Business and Finance Institute. And the reason why I'm taking you here is to show you kind of what we have available. One more thing before I go any further. I have a pretty nasty ear infection. Antibiotics are on their way. So if I'm too loud or too low, let me know, and we'll make adjustments that way. Okay, so here's where we are. This is our main page, and that probably looks familiar to you since most of you in person. On the right, we have some quick upcoming events. Now, these are going to be stale because it's the end of the semester, but each semester we update these, and as we go, we add more. So to quickly point out some of the ones, if you're not aware of them, Excel certification. So if you do it with us, we'll get you Excel certified. You could do it on the associate level or the expert level. You have to start with associate, however. You could go all the way up to Office Masters as long as you follow our system. And then these are different workshops that we have throughout the semester. So we did do two workshops on Tableau already, if any of you attended. We did a full day data analytics workshop. This workshop here, if you look this semester, this would cost you between $2,000 and $2,500 if you do it on your own. But what the alumni was a former investment banker, and he was an alumnus, and we did it through SGA, so it didn't cost students any money. But every semester we have a ton of these going. We have a ton of certifications that are all freely available to you. So you can either come on our website or stop in and speak to a TC. I know it's the end of the semester. We will have some summer hours, usually 9:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday, over the summer. In the case of a holiday, we will not be there. But to get started, this is a really good place to come to our website and kind of see everything that's available to you. Certifications, Bloomberg. We have 3 different Bloomberg certifications. As accountants, one of them is ESG related, and that's such a hot topic now. Knowing what are the metrics that are associated and what companies should be reporting is super important. So if you've got that certification, obviously that and some of these others would look really good on your resume. Tableau is one of those. One of our TCs went to work for the Big Four, and because he just had some experience, at that point he was the backup workshop leader. He became the head, but because he had any experience, he was one of only 2, and so his company basically put him in charge of that particular assignment. All right, so that being said, if we go there, I'm just going to show you some of the workshop dates already happened, obviously, for the semester. But on our website, you could also see a few things. Number one, here's information about Tableau. So it's a data visualization tool. We'll cover that. But you could also access it from home. And so here we have a link that if you click on that link and you go through, you'll be able to download Tableau for 1 year on your machine. You have to still be a student. After you're a student, that goes away, and you will have to pay for it. These are learning resources for Tableau. So again, as long as you're a student, you'll always have access to these learning resources, this tableau.com. But you, of course, also have access to LinkedIn Learning. and also at GBFI. These are some certifications at the bottom associated with it. Now, just to be clear, we do not sponsor the Tableau certifications. Two reasons. Number one, they wouldn't give us any kind of discount, so the cheapest one's $100 a shot, and they also expire. So this one, you'll see some of these, you'll see what the expiration dates are, but they all kind of do expire, and they get kind of pricey. You could choose to do it on your own. At this point, we also don't feel like it's kind of needed. So you could prove your Tableau experience in other ways on your resume. Um, I'll show you Tableau Public in a second, but there's some things for you. Also, our TCs here, there's something called Tableau videos on our site. And in a second, you'll see that there's these canned templates that come with Tableau. We couldn't figure out any videos that were existing on how to do them, so we built our own. They're, again, all free. You watch them. Both of these are TCs. And you go down and it takes you through like nitty gritty. It doesn't necessarily explain things, but it'll get you back to where the canned templates are, and it's great reps. Any questions so far? All right. So this is, you could go to tableau.com, and I'm going to show you there's some resources associated with it. They do these really cool outings. So like they kind of they go out, they'll go to a bar in whatever, Manhattan or in some kind of New Jersey town. They all get together. You could join the community. It's a very sociable community. They also share a lot of visits. So this particular place is called Tableau Public, and you could kind of see and get inspiration and what's out there now within that, right? So I was just looking earlier, some pops out is what's a good SAT score, fertility rates around the world. So you could see how powerful, how quickly, how you could get kind of, you tell a story with the data. This is not your old school Excel charting. This is real deal stuff. And so if you're from New Jersey, you may not be familiar with some of these, but I am, because I'm from New York, and you could see kind of, these are all the schools and their number of test takers and their SAT scores. And so you could see which schools were, below median, between 50 and 75%, and the really high ranking schools. Of course, Stuyvesant, if you never heard of them, they're, elite, Staten Island Tech, Bronx Sciences, and so on. But all of these are all data points, and it's interactive, and you could see like all the stuff. Once you pop on any single data point, you could see what's going to pop up. This is Yesh's last presentation today, so I went here for him. And so this is just a giant soccer, I don't know why anyone likes soccer, but a giant soccer database and kind of a visualization. So midfielders, you could do forwards, and you could see how it's interactive. I could choose forwards over midfielders. I could see, okay, top goal involvements, goals and assists is Jude Bellingham, Real Madrid. Of course, I've never heard of him. I'm sure you have. And if you click on him, then, you could get more information on that person. And the beauty of it is Tableau is doing all that for you. All of these quick percentile ranks, goal assists per 90, and so on, and across the board. And so I just wanted to show you the power. I wanted to show you how amazing it is that basically each data, you're telling a story, but also each data point's a story, and it's interactive, and you could choose from it. So I'll assume there's no questions right now from that, and I am going to move on to, I'm going to stop sharing this 1 second. And I'm going to share the actual Tableau viz. Okay, so if you put it on your desktop, or if you come to us at 1600 Valley in our training floor, you'll be able to open Tableau. There's Tableau Desktop, there's Tableau Prep Builder. You've got the both with the license. And just to show you quickly how cool it is, all of these files, all of these databases you can connect to. So for instance, if I click more here, you can connect to all of these sources. I don't even know half of these, right? Obviously, some of the Amazons, and Azure, SQL, Google Analytics, IBM, Mongo, but a lot of these Firebolt by Fireball Analytics, You may not know those, but all of these are databases or repositories in some way that Tableau can connect to and visualize your data. So for now, we're going to do, I'm just going to go back here for 1 second and kind of, yeah. So the big picture is this is a data visualization tool. We're going to try to have a question, we're going to explore the data, and we're going to tell a story with the data. At the end, it's going to be interactive. So that's the big picture and the goal. For us, we're going to keep it simple in the beginning. We're going to choose Microsoft Excel. And in this case, it's XLSX. That's what we're going to connect to. And of course, again, you could have done it as a CSV. You could have done it in 100 different extensions, but we're going to do it as Excel because that's what most of our stuff might be in. So some things, and then we're going to spend more time kind of explaining what this is, the canvas, what's the difference between dimensions and measures. Because you're not doing it with us, we realize that you're going to forget some of the clicks. So it's more important to get the concepts and what you're looking at. First thing, on the right-hand side is these dots, right? These are our tables. So if we would have looked in our Excel file that we just uploaded, we have 3 different sheets. Each sheet is a table. And if we look here, we can click on this little dot and it'll give us some more information. Please be aware. I am very well aware that I'm going to go a little fast, and the reason is because, again, you're going to forget some, but it's the concepts that we're hitting on. So you could see here, this is a 10,000 row data set. That's pretty big, right? And it's 21 fields or columns. Each one's kind of like a data type. And so you could see here, okay, we have categories. So that's furniture, office supplies, technology, or our categories. And you'll see we have subcategories under that. And we have city, country, customer ID. And so basically what this is a giant repository of online sales. It's a company that sells office equipment, furniture, and like tech stuff to businesses and persons. Scroll over, you can see all of them. Some things to point out here. Automatically, Tableau assigned it a data type. So you could see here, ABC, that means a string. So it took it as a string. Here, it knew it was a date. So it was like an order ID, an order date, an order ship date. So it knew that it should be a date function. And that'll be handy later if we want to say, all right, the customer ordered on, 11/8/2020, November 8th, 2020. How many days did it take to get that order to the customer? So if we go over, we also have just a ton of information. We have information about not only the highest level, which is the category, then we have subcategory, we go to customer level, we go product level. So we'll see all the way down that they sold a particular type of phone. Some other cool things, obviously number, right? That's just going to be something quantitative. So we know that one. We'll take a look more at something like a sales. And it also has what you'll see on one of the other pages, the city. So what we'll see here is that this is actually geographic, and so it knows spatial. So for now, I'm just going to take this. I'm going to drag orders onto here. And this will give me the same output that I just saw. We could get some other information on it. I'm going to go with this quick because this is one of those other important things that are related to Tableau. If you're using a database, it could even be Excel. It could be anything like MySQL, which I know we're going to use more at William Patterson, or any other database. This large relational databases where you have tons of information. You'll be used to joins, and even if you aren't, you will eventually be. So one of the really cool things about Tableau, and again, this is one of those high-level concepts to keep in mind, in the old days or in these other programs, you have to make the join. You have to say, generally speaking, okay, I want you to connect orders with people. And in this case, it's called an inner join. I only want you to connect data that is in orders, which also has a corresponding value in the people's table. And you could do it, this is an inner join, so you might lose data. This is a left join, so that means you'll keep all the data that's in the orders table, but only pull in related people data. Opposite, and then this is, you'll keep all your data, but miss some, you'll have a lot of NAs. So why is that relevant? Because Tableau has this really cool feature. Let me get rid of this now. Remove. Has this really cool feature called relationships. And so we don't have to do that. Not only when I drag and drop it, is it going to do it for us, but it's going to preserve all of the data, right? Because in those other cases, we might lose data, we miss data. Tableau, based on what your query is, will update it and basically take the best parts. And I did that just by doing this. I click on this thing, it says relationship. See that? So relationship is orders to people. There's a field within each of those called region, and that's how we're combining them. And it also has like a lot of different ways you could do it. This is the most basic and obvious. So we'll do the same thing with returns. And so now, just like that, we combined 3 different data sets. And this could, by the way, this happened to be in the same file. It doesn't have to be. So you could do it across files. You could do it across, XLS or whatever else. And you could see here we so easily made that connection. And in the return field, it just says, was it returned, yes or no? And what was the order ID that was returned on? In the case of people, it'll be the person and their corresponding region that they cover. Any questions so far? Okay. So we're going to do a few data visits from here. Again, high level will be done, I'd say, no later than 6:45. We'll do a hard stop at 6:45 for you. So at the bottom here, there's different things. One's called a sheet. One is called a dashboard, and we'll take a quick look at what a dashboard looks like. And one's a story. And so a sheet are just individual displays that we'll see. A dashboard could be a collection of sheets, and a story is a collection of dashboards. And so basically, you're taking these and putting them together into like looks like a PowerPoint presentation. We're not going to go that far, but here we are. So on the left, it did all this for us. This is the tables, this is the category or the field or the column header that you wanted. Again, you could see this is the data type it is. So it knew it has this really cool thing, and you could have a whole job on this, which is geospatial coding. It gets really crazy. We're not going to go there, but we will show you how to make a quick, cool map of, say, in this case, the United States and where the sales are coming from in just a moment. But you can see here are all of the data types. When it's blue, it means it's a category. It's also called a dimension within Tableau. So you think about eye color as a category, product name. It's not really quantifiable, but there's a name associated with it. A region is a category. It could be Northeast, South, East, West, whatever. And category, we looked at that quickly. That's like things like office, technology, and so on. And so these are categorical variables. Below this line, the green stuff, these are our quantifiable. These are called measures. They're quantifiable. How big is our discount? What's our profit? What's our sales? How many did we sell? Excuse me. And it did do each of these for each one. So this was the second table. This was the third table. We will make a quick calculated field because obviously you may not have all of that built in. All right, so first viz. So let's say we wanted to see which category performs best, right? So we're going to take a look at sales. So these are called shelves. One's a column, one's a row. They're the most basic starting point. So I just take, in this case, I want sales, and I want to throw it right on the shelf. And I could quickly see that the overall, we'll assume it's in millions, of this company is 2.297, we'll call it $billion in sales, right? Company as a whole. We'd like a little more granularity, so we could take the category, drop it in rows, and now all of a sudden that 2.7 billion is now set between furniture, office supplies, and technology. So we could kind of quickly see, and we're going to use the show me button later, where that two and change breaks down to. We could go a little further, right? So one of the cool things, and we won't do it now, but you could make what's called hierarchies. And Tableau is really great at doing that. And so a hierarchy might be, country, state, city, town. It could be, in this case, we can make a hierarchy of category, subcategory, product, all the way down. In this case, we're going to keep it simple. We have a category, just like that, with a drag and drop. We went from category to subcategory. And if we'd like, we could then use this little icon here to sort. And we'll know right away, okay, within furnitures, chairs makes $330 million, and it's our biggest contributor. Excuse me, sorry, again, I'm a little under the weather. Phones and technology, and that looks like it's our biggest at 330. Copiers not doing so well, it looks like 149 million. So that's what we have there. We'll rename this and keep it simple. So we double click on the sheet name and we say sales by category. All right, that was oopsies. And just like that, we have a really quick viz, right? I think this would have taken a lot longer in Excel. Think about 10,000 rows, 21 columns, and we just got all of that output. It knew how to build it just like that in different levels. Does anyone have a question about that? Anything they see? No questions. All right, we want to move along. No problem. Let's make another
have a
bit.
question.
Go ahead.
So all the information, like the category, the city, or all of that there, it got the information from Excel, from another data.
Yes, great question. So yeah, we didn't go over that. That happens to be one that comes with Tableau, and so we used it. You could also download it online, but you would need some kind of data set to get started. And you could use Kaggle. I know with AI, there's a whole bunch of others that you could build on your own. But yes, good question. So we just chose that data set.
Okay.
And that's like the basic common one within Tableau.
So that was going to be my next question. What's the use, if there's any use of AI in this?
So Tableau was a very early adapter, and I don't think we're going to use AI in this case today. There's something called Tableau Server. So it's basically this, except you're running it in the cloud. And you could ask questions directly to it. So you could say, and by the way, Excel has this now too. You could ask it a question and say, which is my highest performing category, and it would try to give you a response.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they were really adopters of LLM. Just a quick side note on that. There's other, I still think this is the best one. There's something called Click. There's the Power BI, right? The benefit of Power BI is that it's built into the Microsoft ecosystem. Salesforce bought Tableau. And so even though I think it's the best now, could Salesforce keep up to speed with Microsoft? Can't answer that. But just that's something to think about. All right, so we're gonna do another viz just to show you again what's going on here. I'll do a quick, so you could do order date. So if I click order date and I hold control and hit sales,
it's 6:30.
Oops.
Thank you. So if you click on the show me button, they have the show me button, and basically whatever you click on, Tableau will say, these are your options to make good visits, right? So in this case, for whatever reason, the histogram, we're missing something. It doesn't want to make a histogram for us because it doesn't have enough data. In this case, say it does, right? So we could just do a quick line chart and it did it for us. So this is just showing, I gotta move this thing. This is showing us 2018, 19, 20, and 21. This is called discrete. So basically what this is it rolled up everything for 2018 and each year, but I could do it a lot differently, right? I could do it, this is a discrete has a specific number of values, right? You can't go above, it's yes or no, it could be binary, it could be non, but it's gonna fit neatly within that bin. With continuous, it could always be broken down further. So if I did these are continuous points. And so you'll see now I went from that rolled up version to a monthly version. And if I scroll over, I could see specifically that, the March 2018 had this number, had this figure. I can make it nicer if I want. Sorry, that's the one I wanted to do. But now you could see and that, how quick was that, right? That was very, very quick to get these. You could scroll over it, you could get your data points, February 2019, and it was just a quick and easy way to do it. There's so many other things we're gonna have to skip, like, we could filter this, so we can only do it by certain times. We can make this weekly, we can make this daily. But yeah, for the sake of time, we're not gonna obviously do that, but here we are. So we're gonna do this, we're gonna call this sales over time. And we could have done things like trend lines and stuff like that in here as well, but we'll keep it at high level, so you could see kind of what's there. All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to Yesh right now, and Yesh is gonna go into some of the geospatial stuff. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'm gonna let Yesh share his screen.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Let me just share mine. You can see it, Peter? All right, great. So, all right. So for this next viz, right, a lot of the charts, you can like interact with them. And this one I think is my favorite. So we're going to be using.
Yesh, could you go
state-
louder again? I don't know if it's me again, the hearing problem I got going on, or just if a little bit louder.
Okay.
It sounds a little muffled.
It's probably the mic. It's probably the microphone. It's probably the microphone. So sorry if you can't hear me very well, but I'll try to speak up a little louder. So for this next viz, we're going to want to see how like each state is doing. And like Peter was showing you, every like chart, every graph, and every like viz within Tableau is very interactive. So for this next one, we're going to be showing you how each state is performing in terms of their profit margin. So I'm going to start by clicking on state and sales. And down here on the top right with the show me button, I'm going to click on this map. And I think this is pretty cool, right? If you hover over each one, you can see how each state is doing, and the ones that are darker blue are performing better, right, by the naked eye. But if we put a little more detail into this, it'll give us a different story on how each state is actually performing. So I'm going to, much similar to like Excel, where you can like kind of create formulas. We're going to do the same, but with the existing pillars that we've already have from our Excel sheet. So I just go to analysis, and I'm going to be creating a calculated field. I like to call it CF just to make sure, like, let's say I come back to this project and I don't remember that's my calculated field. And I'm going to call this profit margin. And so profit margin is going to be the sum of profit divided by the sum of sales. Now something went wrong with my calculated field. Let me just redo it. Oh, I know what happened. So I already created it, my bad. But you'll see down here, I have it already done. That's why it wasn't valid. But once you do create that formula, in the bottom you'll say like formula is valid. You can go ahead and click OK. And what I'm going to do is, once I created this pillar down here, you'll see right next to it, there's a little equal sign. That's how you know it's a calculated field. So let's say you didn't put CF, that's how you know that was a formulated equation that you use with, say, like your sales or your profit, etc. And just like everything else, I can just click and drag. And I'm going to drag it into this marks color box. So it'll give you like that detail in certain colors. And you'll see right away that my table completely changes. So what was like, say, Texas, everything looked blue, but now we can see how they're actually performing based on their profit margin. And you can see Texas is at negative 15%. Wyoming is at a negative, or Colorado is at negative 20, right? And it kind of gives you a different story right away. So before, California was the darkest in terms of the blues, and now it looks like Maine is one of the darkest. And I'm just gonna rename it profit margin stakes. And for the following visits, we're gonna be using profit margin a lot. For the next one, instead of just looking at the states, we can go even further down and look at the cities now. So let's click on city, which is up here, and their sales. I'm gonna be creating just a bar graph. And that profit margin that we created, or I created earlier, I'm just gonna drag it right back into color, and it gives us, again, a different story of how actually each city is performing. And you can see that New York City is doing pretty well. Philadelphia isn't, right? And what's pretty neat about this is that I can add this feature in what we call a tooltip. So going back to the viz that we just created, when we hover over each state, this is the tooltip. It gives you the state name and then the profit margin percentage. I can add more stuff to that. And just right in here into that tooltip. And right below it, I can insert certain things from certain sheets that I've already created. And now when I hover over, I can see how each city that's in California is performing. So it looks like every city in California at the moment is doing positively. Let's say Texas. I can't, is Fort Worth blue? I can't tell. Let's say Denver, right? Or sorry, Colorado. You can see that Denver is not doing so well, but maybe one of the cities that are performing positively, you can send someone over there to kind of figure out what's going on. So instead of saying, oh, well, all of Colorado is doing poorly, we can see that it's not all of Colorado, but obviously the profit margin is heavily influenced by the bigger cities in the state. And for this next viz, I'm going to be creating just a simple bar chart of showing how our customers are performing based on their sales. And we're going to add that profit margin again. So I'm just going to click on the customer name, their sales, the show me bar, right? And this is so useful. You don't have to be doing it yourself. You could, if you wanted to, start dragging everything in, but this is such a quicker way to just generate these charts for you. I'll add that profit margin again. And right, we can see who's actually performing well and who isn't, or who's actually doing us a better service and buying our products. And we can do the same again with the products. So let's click on product. And I'm going to click on sales. Again, another bar chart. Oh, let me get rid of that. I'm looking for product name. Here it is. In sales, I'll create that bar chart again. And simply just drag that profit margin again. And we can see how actually each product is performing based on its profit margin. And what's really neat about Tableau is you can create this dashboard like Peter was saying. I can change the size, right, depending on what kind of device you're going to be showing this dashboard on. In this case, I want to get the whole screen filled up, and I can drag my map. I can drag how, let's see, here below. I can show how each city is performing, and I can show. Whoa. Let me get it. I can show how the products are performing as well. And what's pretty cool about the dashboard, when I click on use filter, let's say I want to see how Texas is doing, all three will interact. So it's pretty cool. I think Tableau it gives you this way to just what's it called? present your information in such a unique way. And it's really useful. And I think it's pretty cool that Tableau gives you all these tools to basically make any sort of data extremely presentable and user friendly. And those are the visits that we're going to create today. I think Peter is going to just finish off real quick.
Yeah, great. So thanks, Yesh, and Yesh's last workshop was today. So thank you very much. It was awesome. Yesh has done a ton of workshops for us, Excel, Tableau, and so on. And so thank you. As this is your last one that you'll do as a WPU undergraduate student. So I'm going to stop there. If anyone has any questions, we'll answer them. Otherwise, I'll give you some just a quick tutorial, not tutorial. A quick feedback form to take, and if you have anything at all, you can come in and see us. You could send us emails. Everything's on our website too to help you get it on your computer. LinkedIn is there, so you'll learn how to, if you have stores, we could have taken this down to creating a formula that would do a little circle around each store so that we know if there's any holes, right? So maybe we're in Oklahoma and if we draw a 5-mile radius of our store, maybe we're missing a whole bunch of space and customers that could be out there. So very, very powerful. We can only scratch the surface without you having it, but you could get it, or you could come see us and yeah. Anyone have any questions?
Question. You said that there were classes for Excel. Are they still going on, or did they pass?
So we run the classes during the semester officially. Every summer we do have new people train, and so like sometimes we give options for people to come in while they're training to learn. But there's never a time you can't do it because everything's also online. We do in-person workshops, but you could do what we do on LinkedIn, finish it, and then upload your stuff. And that's how you would do training. Rather than being with us, you do it on your own. It takes longer because we're trying to focus on like the 20% of the material that gets you 80% of the grade. But it's still there. It's still an option online. Thank you for that.
And thank you, Peter, for taking your time out and conducting this workshop.
No problem. Happy to do it anytime. I'm leaving you with the two things. That's a YouTube link there. That's a really old one, but I think a really cool one. It shows Hans Rosling. Don't take any political things away from it, just that you could see kind of what these data visualization tools, how impressive they are. And so what you'll see in there is over time, which we didn't touch on the pages element, but we have in Tableau, it would be called pages. And you could see how things change over time. And you could kind of have this running clock where it updates, the charts are updating, the visuals are updating. You could have many variables rather than the old school 2, right? So in the case of this one, should you watch that video, the country size becomes a variable that you show in a bigger or smaller circle. So I think that's really cool. And then this is just the last one I'll send, which is the feedback. It'll take it 30 seconds. Any questions anywhere? All right. Again, to come, you could do a lot of things online. If you start with the Excel, you can go all the way up to Office Masters, Bloomberg. Definitely check out the ESG. It's new, it's very good, it's useful. We have Alteryx, which is another hot. We haven't really built it in yet, but I hope to do that next semester. But it's another hot. It's like workflow and data analytics, and so accountants use it a lot. We are bringing in, I hope to bring in, that's more management, some kind of relational database stuff too. So probably MySQL, something like that. All right. All right, if there's no more questions, thank you all. I'm gonna hang up, and please take that so we have your attendance too, and I hope to see you all at the center. For those of you graduating, congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.